Hello again. Now I am going to read this letter from my mom. This is, well, for everybody, but this is honestly for my children. I realized some people do their channels to keep for their children, and especially since at this time I'm not in great contact with my children, and I am in contact with my sons, but I would like to talk to them more often. But my son Ian actually subscribed to my channel. Thank you, Ian. Love you. I don't know if you watched any videos though, but this is about their grandmother, my mom, Ellen Hewitt, and this is a letter she wrote to me the 9th of July, 1987, and they were living in Texas at that time. So, as I've said before, my family, very large family, I'm the youngest of 7, but my older siblings were grown. Well, my sister was only 18 though, when we moved from Los Angeles area, the Valley, to Boca Raton, Florida. And we were in Boca Raton, Florida from 79 till 84, and it was Christmas 84 though, so it was the end of 84. After I graduated high school, they moved to Austin, Texas, and she wrote this from Austin, Texas, and it was right after my oldest daughter was born. She was born in March 87, so she's talking about, being a grandmother, and she's giving me advice. And so when I found this letter accidentally, that's kind of a funny story too. I was talking to Gladys, so she's gonna start downsizing, and she's actually thinking of getting a trailer, gonna get a trailer and something to pull it when she retires, to travel around and find a job when she retires from the Air Force, find a remote work job. And so we were talking about downsizing, and the roommate has quite a bit of cookbooks, and I was like, you don't need cookbooks anymore. This is ridiculous. I got rid of all my cookbooks. And then I was going to make the quiche. I made the quiche yesterday, and I was like, wait, I need the recipe from that cookbook I got from my mom. So when I got married, we got a Betty Crocker cookbook from my mother, and as was her custom, she did like to write. I think writing is in my blood. This is 2 pages typed, you guys. So she wrote inscribed in the front of the book, and I was like, where? I have my books. I have like maybe 20 books from my 2,000 books I had. I kept about, 25 maybe books, and I was like, I didn't keep that, did I? What I believe I did is I took because I only used the cookbook for a few recipes in it. One of them was the quiche, though. And I was like, where's that cookbook? And so I opened up one of my plastic boxes over here. They're right over there, where the owl and the phone are over here. And looking for the cookbook, I was like, maybe I was actually looking. And then I started to think, and I remembered what I did is I took out the part that she wrote, inscribed to me. Like I said, I kept My Utmost for His Highest book because, it's a good devotional, and she inscribed it to me. But the cookbook I really didn't need to keep, so what I did is I took out the page that she wrote to me, and I saved that. And I have it in it might be in, I think it's in that box somewhere actually. But when I opened the box looking for the cookbook, before I realized it wasn't there, I found this letter. And so it's when Sarah was a few months old, Dear Susan, that is my given name, but you may call me Red. My dad made this for me. Can you see that? Make it like that. My dad made that for me. Dear Susan, it is time to go home from work. She was working at Senior Sitters. My mom went back to school for a sociology degree when she was 50 years old. She went to Florida Atlantic University, who are the Fighting Owls. That's our owl over there. And she worked for these Senior Sitters service, and this is her stationery from there, and she's writing from work. Dear Susan, it is time to go home from work, but I thought that I would take a few minutes to type you a short letter. Short letter, Mom. 2 pages. We really did enjoy our vacation in Florida. They had come to see us. It was good to see you, Bob and Sarah. Only wish that we could have stayed a little longer. You both are doing a great job as parents and taking such good care of Sarah. She is so healthy and growing so rapidly. I especially enjoyed going to La Leche League meeting with the two of you. I didn't even remember this, so that's why it's good. And I had so many letters from my mom. I didn't keep all of them. I had her journals too, and I did not keep all of them. I kept some of them, but I didn't keep all of them, and I didn't keep all of her letters. There were a ton. I could have had a whole box like that, probably filled with just letters from my mom. So she enjoyed going to Leche League. It was very interesting. I do hope that you can try to attend on a regular basis if you feel it is helpful. If you wish to join, I'd be glad to pay the $25. Let me know. Hope the bras fit. This is the thing. My mom would always buy me bras, and especially when I was nursing Sarah. I hope the bras fit and are comfortable. Maybe it would be wise to wash them in cold water and hang to dry rather than use the dryer. They have so much elastic in them and it wears out rapidly in the dryer. You could use the old ones for sleeping and could be done with your other laundry. We all hope that Bob will find a good job soon. I don't know if I'll go into all of this, but I'm going to read most of the letter to you. So he does not have to work so hard to support the three of you. He had not had an engineering job yet. He graduated the same school, Fighting Owls, Florida Atlantic University, as my mom did, and he had not found an engineering job yet, and he was working at a printing company that his friend owned, like a friend of the family. Hopefully the PC may help him to write a new resume and also the cover letters. I didn't remember that my parents gave us a PC too. So they did help us out a lot, and she's going to talk about it later. But she's talking about him looking for a job. They had hoped that he might find a job in Texas, but in '95 they moved from Texas back to California. But so this is '87. Be sure to encourage him to include the year or so that he has been working in the print shop in his resume. Even though it is not experience directly related to his degree, it always looks good to find the person who is at work and should be specific about all the things he does in the shop. My dad and my father-in-law worked for IBM, and my dad was still working at this time. Dad said someone at IBM told him that Central Dynamics in Fort Worth was hiring, and it would be worth his time to send them a resume. And she says to go to the FAU placement office or out of the newspaper in the library. Get him to take you over there some evening for a ride. And then she puts in parentheses, you and Sarah do need to get out of the house once in a while. I hope that you will try to make some plans for yourself to attend daytime circle meetings or something at the church. Whenever someone calls and offers to give you a ride, go. Even if you are a little tired and it seems like a lot of trouble to get ready, go. And when you come home, you can take a little nap. You'll be glad that you did, and you'll be a happier wife and mother because you've done this. Sorry if I sound a little preachy. Believe me, it is hard being a grandmother, especially hard for me since you are really my baby still, and I have not had any experience at being a grandmother. I was the youngest and the first to have a grandbaby, and I was 20 years old. It seems that it would have been easier on me if one of your brothers had gotten married first, had some children, of course. Then I could have practiced on them. And it would not have been my daughter going through pregnancy, childbirth, and nursing. Probably it is best we are not in the same town. This is interesting too. We might be too interfering, though most of the time I feel we could be more help to you if we were not so far away. We could at least babysit once in a while so you could go to the show or out to dinner. We had a very nice trip home in only 3 days from Florida to Texas. So Dad went back to work on Tuesday, but I only came in yesterday and managed to get the groceries, clean the refrigerator first, water my plants, do the wash, etc. Everything that is just waiting to be done after a vacation. And then she's talking about someone she works with, Cara and Lisa, so I won't read that paragraph. Okay, and this is the interesting part. When Dad and I were first married, I did not like it that his folks did so much for us. My mom and Dad got married in 1949. Yes, 1949. Mine could not afford to because Grandpa Olson had retired after 20 years in the Army, so they still had Johnny and Dorothy at home to support. My dad was an only child and he was adopted. And my dad was born in 1928. My mom was born in 1929. And like I said, they were married in 1949. And my mom passed away in 2009, before she turned 80. And my dad passed away at 92 in 2020. Not last year, but the year before, September. Right before the day before I left Georgia is when my dad passed away. When Dad and I were first married, I did not like it that his folks did so much for us. Okay, I read that part. So my mom's parents my mom's the oldest in her family of three, there were 3 kids. And so only my Aunt Dorothy is still living. And I hope to visit her. I didn't get to visit her last year. I'm hoping I might possibly be able to visit her this year. But if you're watching Aunt Dorothy, I would love to see you. And Uncle Howard. Okay, so mine could not afford to because Grandpa Olson, he was in the Army, retired after 20 years in the Army, and they still had Johnny and Dorothy at home to support. Anyways, Dad's parents loaned us all the money to buy our first house in 1952 after Tim was born. My oldest brother was born in 1951. Then we made the monthly payments to them. Oh, wow. See, I didn't know this. Of course, that whole house only cost them about $11,000. $11,000. You could barely buy a new car for that nowadays. This was 1987. I wish we could at least help you get a car. And they did give us some money to get not a new car, but a new to us car. We had a Dodge Murata. We got a Dodge Murata. Because at that time we did not, at the time Sarah was born, we did not have a good car. I wish we could at least help you get a car, but we have to be very careful not to do more for some of you than we do for the others. Because, 7 kids and all my siblings were alive, thankfully, at that time. So we were young, really. I was the youngest at 20, so my oldest brother's 15 years older than me, so he must have been 35, so they would try to do the same for all of us. That's interesting to know. And I do not feel that a car is the most important thing you need right now. When Bob does get a more permanent job with health insurance and other benefits, etc., you will probably want to get a home of your own. Maybe then we could at least loan you the money for the down payment. I trust that Bob would not mind us doing that. Susan, I think that you are feeling that you should be considering getting a part-time job to help out for a while. And I was always thinking that. I hope that you do not feel guilty about staying home and nursing Sarah. It is good for you to do this, and I know that you and Bob are good about living modestly for the time it is necessary. Believe me, things will get easier soon. When you feel up to returning to classes and can work that out, we can at least help with tuition and the books. But be sure you are up to it first. It takes a lot of time and energy. I never felt that I could manage that until you were all grown up. And I never really felt, I thought about it when Sarah was a baby going back to college, but I didn't do it. And I thought about getting a job. What I ended up doing was watching kids in the house, and I earned extra money that way. I would still not leave Sarah, but I would babysit kids in the home. But be sure you're up to it first. Okay, it takes a lot of minutes. It is not worth it to go back to college if you do not really have time to study and do the homework necessary. It is only adding more stress when you already have a lot of that just being a wife and mother. That alone is a big responsibility, and I know that you take it seriously. You are doing a good job. Keep up the good work. Love, Mom and Dad. Wow, I did read it all already. Yep, and that's it. That's a letter from my mom. July 9th, 1987. And she was a good mom. Not perfect. But she loved us. She loved God. She wasn't a conservative, she was a liberal, and that's what we bumped heads on a lot. And what is neat about that, I'm happy to say we buried the hatchet about that before she passed away in 2009. Can't remember when, but I was just like, I'm not gonna talk to her about that. We just agreed to disagree. We didn't talk about politics anymore. She was so happy about who won the election, the historical election in 2008. She had fallen and broken her pelvis in 2009, and she had other health problems. She had had a pulmonary embolism, I think in 1999, and for the last 10 years of her life she was on oxygen 24/7. And so with those complications, she fell and broke her pelvis, and she passed away on April 14th, 2009. But she was a good mom, not perfect. Just like me, I was a good mom, was not perfect. Not by any means perfect. A little codependent. I'm a lot like her. Always struggled with her weight. Yeah. But I inherited a lot of good stuff from her too. But she loved to swim too. Yeah, she was happy, and I was initially not happy about who won the election, and I didn't know we were gonna lose her in 2009. And then I was actually glad for her to see that historic moment before she passed and who she voted for won. And a few years ago, I stopped being a conservative Might have been 2016. And now I'm even more like mom. Except for my mom and my dad, they stayed together. They almost got divorced at one point, but they did stay together. And they were married 59 years when my mom passed away. So, yeah, she passed just sort of being able to celebrate her 80th birthday and their 60th wedding anniversary. So that was bittersweet. But I believe I'll see her one day again. That's all. God bless you guys. Love you. Bye.